The third method I want to show is using a central class or object to pass the data. If you're coming from Angular 2, you might know this as services. This would also be a central part of the app you inject in places where you need it, which holds some tasks or methods you want to use in your whole application. That's basically what we're using now. To do so, I will create a new Vue instance in my main.js file here, where I have access to Vue, and I will store it in a constant which I export. So here I will export a constant named, I'll name it event bus, since it will serve as a bus for our events, but you may give it another name. And this is a new Vue object. Now, I'm not defining any methods or something like this because the methods I need already exist on this by default because they are shipped by Vue.js. So with this bus or with this object set up, I can go to my user edit component, and there I want to import this. So I'm importing this from the main.js file, and I'm using curly braces. This is ES6 syntax for importing named exports, and here it's the event bus. With this, I can comment out my existing emit method and instead call event bus $emit, because event bus is just a Vue instance, and again, a Vue instance has this emit method. Here I want to emit the same data as the event above, but here the important thing is this is not emitted on this Vue instance here, it's emitted on this event bus instance. Now, since this is a separate instance, I can now go to my user detail component, and there I want to add a new lifecycle hook, the created hook. We learned about this in the lifecycle hook lecture in the Understanding the Vue Instance course module. And I'm using ES6 syntax instead of this normal ES5 syntax here to create this created hook. And I want to use this hook because I now want to set up a listener to this event. This listener should keep running from the beginning of this component on. Therefore, created is the place where I want to set it up because the component is now created. Now it's time to register this listener. For that, I will need to add the import of the event bus there too, like this. Then here I can set up event bus on, and this will now listen to events emitted on this Vue instance I created and stored here in the event bus. So here I know I want to listen to the age was edited event because this is the name I chose in the user edit component. And I know that I get some data. This data is always used in the second argument here, which is always a callback which should get executed whenever such an event occurs. I'm using ES6 syntax with the arrow function here. And this callback, which will get executed automatically by Vue.js, always gets the data we pass with the event passed as an argument. So we always get the data here. The name is totally up to you. You can name it data, or since I know it will be an age, I can also name it age. And then here I can access my existing Vue instance with this and set user age, this prop we're getting passed from outside, directly to age. However, in the main.js file, this will not work like this. Tiny error I just recognized. We have to put this in front of our Vue instance here, of course, because this is the instance holding all our components. Therefore, we have to create our event bus before loading all these components. Otherwise, we won't have access to them because the code here would get executed after that instance. So the order is important. Now, when saving this, we can go back to the application, and if I now click Edit Age, it's updated instantly. But important thing is, it's not taking the route over the user component. And I can prove this by also printing the age here. Age is the name of the property set up here in the data field. And by reloading, we see age is 27. And if I edit it here, it stays 27 in the user component, but not in the two child components. This is how you can implement a communication between children without having to take the route using the parent. Though that being said, managing state, and that is what we're doing here, we're managing the state of a property across multiple components, can quickly get very, very complicated. If you got more complex structures, use a component in different places, update a property in different places, and so on. To make this simpler, Vue.js has a great tool we can use called ViewX. And we will use it in this course in a later module where I will dive deeply into that tool and which will show you how easy state management then becomes. That being said, for simple to medium-sized applications, there's nothing wrong with this approach, and it's perfectly fine to pass data either using these parent-child chains you saw earlier with custom events and props, or by using an event bus like this.